Well, we returned the ZCam. What is going on, everybody? Dan with Gear Focus, and welcome back to yet another video. Hope you guys are all staying safe and staying healthy. Ever since we released our ZCam F8 video, we've been getting a ton of questions about the follow-up and the review for that camera. The unfortunate thing is we actually sent the ZCam back. We returned it pretty much a week after we made that first video. Don't get me wrong, the ZCam E2 F8 camera is a great camera. It just didn't really work for what we needed it to do. Now, before we get into this, I just want to make this clear. I'm not hating on ZCam. I'm just giving you our personal experience with the camera that we had. And again, this happened about 2 months ago, so things could have drastically changed. I know that there have been some improvements and updates since we've used the ZCam. However, it wasn't exactly the greatest experience for us. So the biggest thing with the ZCam is it really just didn't fit into our workflow. If we had spent the time to, build the camera up and get it set, it probably would have worked for a studio camera, but realistically, we already have two of those. We have two Blackmagic 6K cameras. We didn't need an additional camera. Realistically, we don't need to have an 8K resolution camera. The majority of you are probably watching this exact video on your cell phones, and if you're not, you're watching it on a computer, which has a maximum output right now of 4K. Although, if you do have the ability to watch videos in 8K, I want to hear from you. But at the end of the day, we don't need 8K. 6K is more than enough for what we need. Pretty much right out of the gate, we had issues with the third-party support of the ZCam E2 F8. This isn't the fault of ZCam, but when we bought our cage from Tilta, it didn't fit. We actually had to take the top plate completely off and put the top handle in the 1/4-20 slot that is on the top of the F8. This was extremely frustrating because then that meant we couldn't attach the other things that we wanted to and feel stable and secure about it. Personally, when I was using it, I didn't feel like the cage was secure and it didn't really feel good to me in the hands. Another big thing is Z-RAW. Z-RAW doesn't work in pretty much any editing software. You have to take it and use ZCam software to encode it to a ProRes codec before you can bring it into any of your editing suites. And for us, that's not something that we were interested in doing. I want to be able to take the footage directly off the camera, put it into Premiere, and then be able to edit it right away. I don't want to have to go through an additional step. I purposely built my computer so that I could handle raw footage. I don't want to have to go through basically the step of creating proxies in order to edit my footage. That really just takes way too much time, and it wasn't time that we were willing to spend just to make some YouTube videos. Another thing that was an issue for us was the app and the menu system. It's really not easy to navigate on the camera, plus if you go through the mobile app connected via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or something like that, it's extremely slow and it's still difficult to navigate. And maybe part of that is because I'm coming from a Canon and a Blackmagic ecosystem, which both have extremely easy to navigate menus, but the menu on the ZCam just wasn't really easy to get through. And on top of us struggling with the app and the menu system, the firmware update process was also kind of a bit annoying. Me and Matt, when we update our cameras, especially from Canon, we're used to just downloading that firmware file, plugging our cameras in, and it's ready to go from there. With the ZCam, we had to put the update on a CFast card, and then we had to plug that into the camera, and then we had to navigate to a certain spot in the menu. It was just, the update process for the firmware was just way too kludgy, and it just took too much time. Now, when we recorded with the ZCam, we used the Samsung T5 drives. Those drives work absolutely flawlessly on the Blackmagic cameras that we have, but it was kind of spotty with the ZCam. There were times when it worked totally fine, and then there were times where it wouldn't record at all. Now, I do know that the camera has a CFast slot on it, but again, that was an additional piece of hardware that we would have had to purchase that we really didn't want to get. Another weird thing that we noticed with the camera is the difference in the batteries that we plugged into the back of it made a huge difference in the performance of the camera. The E2 F8 has an NPF battery slot on the back of it, and we have a bunch of those batteries laying around the studio. And what was weird was some batteries that we plugged in worked totally fine, and then other batteries that we plugged in made it not work almost at all. And I really don't understand why that would happen, but if somebody knows the reasoning behind that, please let me know down in the comments, because I'm really curious to know why a difference in a battery, even though they were the same brand, same model, everything, would change the performance of the camera. Now, our experience with the ZCam wasn't all bad. One of the great things about the ZCam community is there is a very active Facebook page. The Facebook page, pretty much any question you could ever have has either been asked and answered already or will be answered almost right away. The owners and the engineers of ZCam are very active in that group. Now, Kinson, if you are watching this video, I know you said that you had plans to come to Baltimore, but obviously with all of the flight restrictions, that's not happening anytime soon. However, if you are still coming to Baltimore, we would love to meet and talk with you, because maybe you've made some improvements to the camera or you've changed some things up, and we would absolutely love to talk with you and meet you. After talking with a bunch of ZCam owners, it seems like our experience might have been an outlier. I know a lot of people that have the regular E2 or even the F6 or the S6 line have had some really great experiences. So it could just be that we had a bad experience with the camera. ZCam has a great lineup of cameras, and in a situation where we had maybe a little bit more time to set up and rig the camera out, like if we were doing a narrative production, the ZCam would probably fit into what we wanted to do a little bit better. However, because we're trying to churn YouTube videos out quickly, having that ZCam in the system just didn't really make much sense for us. So to wrap everything up, we all know that not every camera is perfect for everybody. Everybody has their own wants and their needs for their cameras and their setups. So for us, the ZCam just unfortunately didn't work for our situation. But that doesn't mean that it's a bad camera. If you have any questions about the E2 F8, go ahead and drop them down in the comments down below. And while you're down there, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, as it really does help us out here on the channel. Thank you for sticking around to the end, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay creative. Peace.